Hi, everybody. Welcome into this week's show here on JTV and online at jtv.tv. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency 269-200-2905 or myinsuranccircle.com, West Michigan's family-driven insurance solution provider. Don't feel good today.
Why is that?
Today is not a very good day. Today is a Monday.
Oh, is that the only reason? Just because it's Monday?
Yes.
How'd the games go?
All the wild card games were great.
Phenomenal games.
They were all phenomenal
Probably
games.
The weakest of them would have been. I mean, we still have the one tonight, but the weakest of those would have been
New
the
England
last one, New England, and that still was like a defensive game, but it was still a good game.
Which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I was very disappointed with Harbaugh and the Chargers because I was rooting for Harbaugh, of course.
Yeah, I was.
Clearly, if people didn't know by now, they need help on the O-line.
They do. Yeah, I was rooting for the Patriots. I really like Vrabel. I think he's a great coach. So it's fun to see that team do well. I was a big fan of the Titans when he was coach of the Titans. Probably helped that Derrick Henry was on there. But yeah, I mean, fun weekend of games. I know there's one game that we will get to in the second segment, but we'll have to talk about that. And I have something extra for that. But yeah, you still had a good weekend though, even though that happened.
Yeah, it was good. Good hockey game Friday night.
That was a great game.
We will get to that in a second. Yeah. So, high school boys basketball update for this week, how we kick off today's show. This week's rankings from the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. In Division III, Lumen Christi number 5, Onsted number 8, and then in Division IV, Concord ranked number 3 this week, 10-1 so far this year, including a win over a Division I school, and that would be the Northwest Mounties. And we will have Concord on JTV this week, Tuesday night. We'll have more on that at the end of the show. So some key matchups this week for the boys. Springport at Concord on Tuesday. We'll have that on JTV. More on that in a minute. Jackson High at Ypsilanti Lincoln. Lincoln 9-1 overall so far this year. And then few really good games on Friday. Hanover at Jonesville. Big Cascades West game. Northwest Western rivalry. Of course, that's always a good one. And then Jackson at Chelsea on Friday. Jackson High, not that they weren't already a legit team, both of their games this week will really tell. They've got at Lincoln, who's 9-1, and then they're at Chelsea on Friday. High school girls basketball, their rankings this week, Lumen Christi, number 2 in the state in Division III. They have 2 wins over Division I schools so far this year. They beat Detroit Edison at the buzzer 50-49 a couple of weeks ago. And then this past Saturday at Lumen Christi at home on Saturday, they beat Cass Tech in the Dome. Big win for them. And not only that, but they beat them by 9 too. So really good win for the Titans. And then in Division III, also Columbia Central number 8 and Grass Lake number 9. And those two play each other Tuesday night. Columbia number 8 at number 9, Grass Lake. And then Grass Lake hosting Michigan Center for the girls on Thursday. We'll have that game live on JTB too. I will be there. I think the last 3 or 4 games that we've had on JTV, it's been Matt Kibbe and Max Fritz, and they've done an excellent job.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get back on the headset Thursday night, of course, at my school, Grass Lake. So looking forward.
They'll be cheering for you.
Yep. Looking forward to that. I already had somebody tell me, watch out for their student section Thursday.
Good. I can't wait. I'll try to get them riled up for you.
Thanks.
I should just get those like fat heads printed, and it's just you with the insurance circle hat. Like, we should do that.
Or just do the blue logo. The blue logo on a
and just pass them all out.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's not a bad idea.
I mean, what was that one game that we went to? It was at Michigan Center where everybody got it was an entire student section got behind
with
you
fat
for
heads.
it was for the post game. I remember I was there.
Oh,
and it was
yeah,
maybe it was your brother's friends or somebody like that, but it was a bunch of people that got behind you during the post game, and that was pretty funny.
So a lot of good girls games this week, couple of good boys games, and of course we'll check back in on that on next week's show. Now, we just mentioned great hockey game Friday. Jackson United 5, Lumen Christi 2. For the first time in 8 years, the boot has returned to the Jackson United locker room. They earned the big rivalry win. Packed house on Friday, too, at Optimist Ice Arena. And just based on the number of kids, most of the United players are from Michigan Center, and their boys' game got canceled Friday. I was going to go to that, but they had no power because of the wind and the storm that we had Thursday. So there were a lot of people at Optimist Friday, which is great.
It's packed.
Yeah, and they only played once this year.
Yeah, so this is the one.
Yep. Brennan forward 3 goals to lead Jackson United. They are now 10-6 on the season. They got a 9-1 win on Saturday. They played back-to-back. They hosted Farmington at home on Saturday, and they won 9-1. So Jackson United 10-6 on the year, and the 5-2 win for the Boot on Friday. Great game. You know, I've said it before, I'm not a big hockey person, but I always come out to this game. Great win for United. And we've been saying, you know, new coaches here too. If this was a year that they were going to do it, this was the year. And to me, I just had a feeling the crowd and the energy when the game started Friday and just the way everything felt to me is that that's how it was going to be, and it ended up being that way.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this last week's show that I felt like this was the year for them to win based on everything, based on record, based on how the teams are playing, based on the youth on Lumen, some veteran presence on JU. I think that helped. But it was a tremendous game, and I think the big momentum swing was that first goal. Was right before the end of the first was JU putting a goal on the board. That was huge. And then, I mean, they just played extremely well. You know, I felt like they had an aggressive forecheck, and I feel like a lot of that game was just putting pressure on Lumen the entire time and really not, you know, they got a breakaway off of JU got a breakaway off of a shorthanded play where puck got loose up in front and they were able to take it and score. So I think JU had a tremendous game, and
it's a physical game too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I feel like, yeah, that boarding play was nasty on O'Shea. I hope he's doing okay. But yeah, I think great game for JU. Lumen cannot be upset. They played really hard, made a few mistakes here and there, but they
tied it up
really
at 2. I think it was late in the second period.
They did, and then I'm pretty sure Forward scored right after. Like, it was almost immediately after that. I mean, if you watch the highlights on our site and on YouTube, you'll see that, like, it was within like a minute or two after that first goal. So again, it was just like momentum kind of started to go towards, you know, Lumen. It was like 60% Lumen at that point after that goal. Then immediately just shot right back to JU because they just kind of took over after that and just at times wouldn't give up the puck, or if they did, it was just not good opportunities. So great job. And their goaltender is fantastic. He made some great stops.
Jonah Hughes, fantastic.
He made some great stops, yeah.
So Jackson United 5-2 over Lumen Christi. As you just mentioned, we've got all the highlights from that online at jtv.tv. Great photos from that game.
Yeah,
well.
They looked awesome. The celebration photos looked sick.
Yep. So shout out to Hannah, our photographer, and our entire photo team. A lot of great coverage from all the different games on Friday night. So that's all online at jtv.tv. Coming up on the show today, mentioned earlier, a lot of great all of the wild card games were great. Michigan basketball. Terrible how that ended Saturday. So we've got some college basketball. Pistons are still doing really well. Red Wings get a big win over Montreal.
Yeah, they're on a good winning streak right now. looking real good in the standings right now. I wish that the playoffs would start today.
And it's not too early to talk high school baseball.
Oh, man.
I've got the preseason high school baseball rankings today. And speaking of baseball, NBC announces Sunday Night Baseball.
I'm excited. I'm just excited for baseball in general, so this is a perfect time for me.
It's the first time ever that any network has had Sunday night sport, blank, whatever, year-round, ever. Sunday Night Football, then basketball starting on February 1st on NBC, and then Sunday Night Baseball.
You know what? I really like CBS. I think CBS puts together a great presentation, but NBC might be my favorite.
Oh, they're my favorite
presentation of all. And between the announcers that they always get top tier announcers. They're never taking a chance, if that makes sense, on an announcer. It's like, no, we're going to go get the best guy. We're going to go get, Al Michaels leaves. They kind of had Tirico ready, but it was like they had Al Michaels.
You replace him with Mike Tirico.
Right. You immediately get one of the best in the game, Mike Tirico. And then, from what
people hate on, people hate on, Chris Collinsworth, and it's understandable, but still, I still like Chris I think he's great.
To me, he's a staple of Sunday Night Football, and a staple just for Sundays in general. I feel like I always want to hear his voice. Always want to hear him talking about, oh boy, that boy Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I really think NBC does a great job. So if there was a place that a station that I'd want to do it, it'd be NBC without a doubt. So I'm very happy about it.
And you know what? ESPN, I know they used to have Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, the Classic used to be amazing.
During the week in Sports Center, they don't ever really talk about baseball. You watch First Take, they don't talk about baseball. Yeah. Pat McAfee show does, but that's just a sub-license, you know what I mean?
And mainly they do it, Pat McAfee show mainly does it because if it's not football season, you don't have too much to talk about football season, even when it's like training camps, obviously during the draft, that's big time for them. But you just don't get that coverage that you would normally get. And that's why it's like I tend to go on MLB Network and all those shows if I want to watch good, because that is primo stuff is on MLB Network. So if you ever want to watch just stuff about baseball, about contracts and everything that's going on right this second, it's a great watch.
I wish MLB Network was on YouTube TV.
Is it not?
No.
I watch it other ways. I won't specify how, but I watch it other ways, so yeah.
But no, I think NBC is and I know I still miss watching basketball on TNT, but I will say if it was anything to replace it, NBC is good.
Exactly.
So Mike Tirico and Reggie Miller is the A team.
I love it.
It's good. So we'll talk Sunday Night Baseball. Scooble's contract situation. Alex Bregman also finding a new home.
Yep.
We knew he wasn't going to get picked up by the Tigers, but you still had hope.
Yeah, and a little surprised he didn't get picked up by the Sox, and I think they're kind of kicking themselves right now.
I would be.
Yeah.
And then both of our live basketball games this week on JTV. Yep. We'll get to that. So when we come back, NFL wild card, the Rams getting the win, the Bills with their win at Jacksonville, a lot of great games. So NFL wild card when we come back on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. So the NFL wild card playoffs kicked off over the weekend. Let's get right into it. Stafford and the Rams. People coming into it, Carolina was 8-9. They hosted a playoff game, but it's going to be a blowout. No, that was a great game. And Carolina played a heck of a game.
I thought Carolina was going to win it for a little bit. They were looking really good. And, I think such a good sign for Carolina, especially after these horrible seasons that they're coming off of, to do that well against arguably the best team in the NFC. You can argue that. You could argue best team in football have been the Rams this year. And to be that close was really, really good for them. they need help on defense. They need help a little bit with the offensive line. But once those two things get put together, and if they make those moves in the offseason, you could be talking about a runaway favorite to win their division and potentially to make a run in the playoff.
Buffalo coming back late to beat Jacksonville, and same thing with them coming in. Buffalo isn't the same. Jacksonville's won 8 in a row. Weather wasn't going to be a factor because it wasn't in Buffalo. Jacksonville was going to have this game, and they did.
Yeah.
They did for most of it. But Josh Allen getting just beat up and battling through. Great game, and they came back to beat Jacksonville.
Yeah. That was the only game that I missed, so I was not able to watch that one, but I caught the highlights, and, it's crazy because it's just Josh Allen, best player in football. You can make that argument. He's just unreal.
Niners upsetting Philly.
I had that upset. I did. I did. I did a not a real parlay, but I did a parlay in like a fake parlay, and I should have
fake parlay.
Yeah, of like these are the teams I think are going to win. I didn't put any money on it, but I was just like these are the teams I think are going to win. I should have put money on it because I've been right every single one. My last one is I have Houston over Pittsburgh. So if that happens, I'll be really upset that I didn't put money on it.
Well, tonight I am wearing my Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this might be the last time you get to wear an Aaron Rodgers jersey.
I was worried about that last week, too.
Yeah, this might be it.
Every game now here on, get a pull for Aaron Rodgers. And unfortunately, when they lose, because they're not going to make the Super Bowl or anything. So when they lose, it's going to be sad seeing him walk off the field.
You might be seeing that tonight. I just think that, like I said, I think Houston's the dark horse in this entire playoff. So I really like Houston beating Pittsburgh tonight. I think
Jacksonville
that defense is suffocating.
Was the hottest team. Besides them, Houston was second.
Yeah.
They have the best defense in the NFL.
They do. I just, if their offense can put it together, they'll pick up, they'll go far. I think just on their defense alone, they can win tonight.
And then I was really pulling for Harbaugh and the Chargers, but they've just been so beaten and battered on the O-line. And
Patriots were, this was Patriots' game to lose. So they were able to pick up the win.
And also it was funny, in Week 18, Harbaugh was going to play all of his starters and actually try to compete in Week 18, but they didn't. They just said, okay, we're just going to take this week off. We'll tank to the 7th seed so we can get New England. They wanted that game, and they figured that out the hard way. So
that's right.
All
right.
So that's about it for the wild card.
No. If you're not going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it, and you don't want me talking about it.
Go ahead. Fine.
All right. Packers looked terrible. No, that was a great game. I knew Bears were going to win going into it. They just, like I told you before, momentum mixed with your guys' health was a big question mark. What was your takeaway from this game? I know it was a rough game if you're a Packers fan, especially with how it ended, but it was a crazy game.
First half was really good, and coming into this game, I felt better. I know the Bears came back and beat us in Chicago in the second meeting in the regular season.
Oh, sure.
So I was worried about that, but then the way the Bears played against the Lions Week 18, because the Lions haven't been good, I felt a lot better going into this game. And the first half looked really good. Moving the ball well, running the football well, which is what Matt LaFleur likes to do. It was a
tale of two halves, for sure.
And Jacobs played really well, and Love looked really good. Looked like he hadn't missed a beat. Matthew Golden finally got his first touchdown. They actually threw him the ball.
Yeah.
Watson got a touchdown, too. And then the second half comes. And this has been our problem. We've had a lead before. Same thing in that second Chicago game. LaFleur likes to run the ball, which also I do too. If you have watched this show at any point, you know I like to run the football. But you let your foot off the gas. Way too conservative, though. There's a line, right? I think that's fair. Way too conservative play calling. Run, a screen or a pass, just throw something up, punt, or turnover on downs. And that was the story of the second half. And also the fact that Brandon McManus missed an extra point.
I was going to bring this up.
and then missed 2 field goals, missed 3 kicks. And when he was struggling earlier in the year, the Packers picked up another kicker, Haversick, and he was 100% on his kicks. Did not miss one, looked really good, and still did not pull McManus after he missed 3 kicks. And we had another special teams error as well, which has been a headline of our season. So between missing 3 kicks and not pulling McManus and way too conservative of play calling, as soon as we missed that first kick in the second half and the Bears scored the touchdown, you knew what was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting flashbacks to Seattle. That's what was happening for me watching that game. Just like
I watched that in my sleep.
Yeah, just kind of being in the driver's seat. I mean, look, it was 28-6.
It was 21-3 at the start of the fourth quarter.
21-3. I mean, you are very close to talking about.
That's 3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, you're real close to comparing that to Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl. Obviously, not as quite, and that was an extra touchdown on top of it, but one of those of like everything has to go right for the Bears for that team to come back kind of thing, and it did.
And of course, our odds, every single thing went wrong for us.
Yeah. I mean, and the McManus thing, it was no offense, but it was one of those things where I kind of just smiled when it happened because it was just kind of like,
here we
David.
go.
Well, it's just like David's been preaching about special teams being an issue this entire time, and it was exactly what you were concerned about going into this game was can special teams execute, and especially I knew like when they were up, I was like, man, David's probably feeling pretty good right now. And then I had to go do a bunch of things. So I got up from my TV and I left, did a few things, thinking Packers are going to have this game. And then I came back and I saw the score and I was like, uh-oh. And then at that point I was glued because it was like, can the Bears actually do this? And they did. Did you see the handshake at the end? What's your thoughts on that? So just so everybody else knows, LaFleur came in to shake Ben Johnson's hand. Ben Johnson kind of didn't even look at him. Quick shake and walked away.
One of those quick big league,
Yeah, it was real quick, and it was just kind of like the announcers even went like, whoa, which was interesting. It wasn't terrible, but it was just have you seen the AI videos with it?
Yeah.
People are having him like do roundhouse kicks and stuff to him and stuff. It's pretty funny.
I am upset with Matt LaFleur for the handshake. Ben Johnson, had the F the Packers thing. That was a big, thing that he's been talking about, which is the rivalry. I'm not bothered by that.
Yeah.
Who cares? Michigan, Ohio State, there's been worse things said to each other.
Yeah.
So,
and actual fights. So
yeah, and Michigan State.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Chicago came back and played well in the second half. So, unfortunately, I hate to say this, the Bears have the right to do that. And LaFleur, because LaFleur is terrible and he should be unemployed and he should have been thrown into Lake Michigan, just went up. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Well, I'm very glad that you talked about LaFleur, hoping that he would be fired, because I have a news report for you.
They're re-signing him.
According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Packers are expected to try and work out a deal in the coming days with Matt LaFleur. So, and when you look at his stats, right, like 76, 40-1 is his career record. He's in his 7 seasons with the Packers, he's been to 6 playoffs, and his last NFC Championship game appearance was 2020, where he lost to
Tom Brady.
Terrific Tom and the Buccaneers. So, hey, that's a tremendous win-loss record. And,
No. Wait. So 76, 40-1.
Yes. In 7 seasons.
But just because of how historic the franchise is and the standards that we've had, has never made the Super Bowl, only made 2 NFC championships, had the lead in both of those games, and lost.
Right, yeah.
Had the lead in the second half and lost in both of those games. And then after that, nothing. And in one of those years, would have gotten in the playoffs at 9-8, but lost to the Lions the first year that the Lions were on their comeback.
Yeah, that was cool.
Another year, missed the playoffs too. So, why?
Hey, I mean, I told you, I would have been shocked if they wouldn't have kept him.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing. If Green Bay loses in the first round, which we did, LaFleur was going to be gone. So Sunday morning, I expected to wake up and see the Packers have relieved Matt LaFleur.
I never would have expected that.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I do think John Harbaugh would have been our next coach. I was watching ESPN's Countdown Sunday morning. And Adam Schefter made the point of former Packers president and GM Bob Harlan, which his son is Kevin Harlan.
Mm-hmm.
But Bob Harlan, he is like Packers lore, pretty much. He's a legend in Titletown. His son is the agent of John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh also has a house in the UP of Michigan. The UP is pretty much all Packer fans, besides Lions fans, but he has a house in the UP. Of course, Jim and their family being from the Midwest. Jim Harbaugh, of course, coached at Michigan, played for the Bears. That would have been set up perfectly for John Harbaugh to take the job. But instead, we're keeping a guy who, Green Bay's the 13-time world champion.
Yeah.
And so for...
How many of those were, though, Lombardi, and we're at that era? You know what I mean? Like, it's totally different.
So people still recognize the Lions' last championship as 1954.
And I'm not saying I don't recognize them, but when you talk about...
It's still NFL history.
No, I 100% get it, but if you compare the Patriots to the Packers...
Right. No, they've won 6 Super Bowls.
Recently as well, when the competition is at its greatest. And trust me, I'm the first one to defend the history of sports. I'm
right. I know you're a history guy.
I am. So I'm always the one to defend that stuff. But, when you look at what this record is with the success, sure, you don't win the Super Bowl, it's not a successful season. But when you look at these records that LaFleur has, you look at how Green Bay kind of sticks with their coaches, at least in recent memory, with how long they kept McCarthy. I'm not surprised at all that
that was a year or two too long.
Yeah, and same thing with the Cowboys in my eyes. It was the same thing with the Cowboys. I feel like they kept him a little too long. We've had this discussion before, but I was not surprised, and I think it's easier for a non-Packers fan to have that opinion, to be like, I was genuinely surprised the first time he said, like, we need to get rid of him, because I was just like, oh, this is kind of your superstar head coach type thing, so I was
the calling for him is growing and growing.
Yeah, which I bet in the community, but when you look in the Packer community, but when you look from the outside in, it's just kind of like I'm not saying, man, we need to get rid of Dan Campbell. Like, it's just, this.
No,
this year
I think that would be ridiculous.
But even next year, let's say next year, let's say something weird happens, we're 10-7, miss the playoffs at 10-7.
Similar to this year.
I'm not asking for him to be fired.
No, and also same thing because of history, Packers standards, and compared to the history of the Lions. Still, even though you didn't make the playoffs, it's still a good year for Lions. You look back at the history of the Lions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were wearing brown paper bags on their heads for years, and Dan Campbell has still turned it around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, I guess to close this out, I guess more what I want to say is, like, be careful what you wish for in terms of, this coach is good, but man, we got to the playoffs and we lost in the first round. Like, what happens? You guys get a new coach, not a good coach, and now you're not even in the playoffs, you're 5-win season, and you're going to be like,
well, then by our standards, and he needs to go too.
Well, yeah.
Then we'll just keep this going until...
I guess, but I'm just like, you would hate for LaFleur to leave, go to a different team, be successful at that team, you get a new coach, and he's not successful, and then you're thinking to yourself, man, we should have just kept with them, stuck with them, especially with the guys that we have on our team. It's just something that I think about in terms of, like, be careful what you wish for when you're asking for a new head coach.
And I get that. And because I know they weren't as good, but Mike McCarthy also made the playoffs a couple of years with the Cowboys.
I think this is a very
and his
similar.
Last year, we missed the playoffs in Green Bay.
I think this is a very similar situation. Look, I mean, you were a few plays away in that Tampa Bay game to have gone to the Super Bowl that year against the Kansas City Chiefs team, which
that
was
touchdown
beatable.
Throw to Scotty Miller right before halftime
Nasty.
was the
Filthy.
turn of it.
That was a filthy throw.
Well, actually, the person to blame for that game is Kevin King. He's the worst corner in the history of humankind.
I remember you talking about that recently. But
yeah, throw him into the lake. With Matt LaFleur needs to go there too.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So just to wrap up NFL discussion, I'm excited. We have that one more game tonight. I'm excited for this divisional round. See what happens.
I'll leave it at that. But it's just, if you look at Green Bay media and our fan base, and really not just our fan base, but it's just the call for when is a change going to happen is growing. That's just, it's my point. And by our standards, no, making the playoffs and losing in the first round or having a lead in the NFC Championship and not winning, you're down by 4 in Tampa Bay's 15-yard line with 2 minutes left, and you kick a field goal and you throw in the towel, that too. So I'm just saying, by our standards, no, Matt LaFleur needs to go. I'd take, not right now, at this moment in time, I'd take Mike McCarthy over Matt LaFleur. When you look at those two side by side and what they've done, I would take Mike McCarthy over Matt LaFleur.
I would not. But
I know that's a hot take.
It is very.
But I'm just saying, he was a Super Bowl winning coach with the Packers.
Yeah, if you were GM right now, would LaFleur be gone?
Yes.
And if
Jeff Hafley, our defensive coordinator, head coach. Also, by the way, special teams has been an issue, and you pointed it out again, too. I was the first one on the show a long time ago that said special teams has been an issue. He needs to go, too. And our special teams coach is Rich Bisaccia, which is the guy that filled in for the Raiders for a few games, and then we hired him for special teams. He needs to go, too, and Haversick needs to be our kicker. If I'm the GM, he needs to go.
I did find a clip that I was going through old David Ray shows, just trying to grab something from him, and I found a clip, and I'll just show it right now.
2.5 sacks for Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Defensive Player of the Year.
That's not gonna happen.
And we're gonna beat Chicago.
I cannot wait for the Bears to beat you guys.
We're gonna beat Chicago on our field and win the NFC North.
Not gonna happen.
They flexed it to 4:30. By the way, it should be the Sunday night game.
I can't believe I'm rooting for the Bears to win the North, but that's exactly what I'm doing.
I can't believe you.
Yeah, I am.
Why?
Because I hate the Packers.
Yeah, but don't you not like the Bears?
I hate the Packers more than the Bears. It'd be like what I said. If there was a Guardians-Dodgers World Series, I'd root for the Dodgers. Same thing here. If there's a championship game between the Bears and the Packers, I'm obviously rooting for the Bears.
Anyways.
Oops. Well, I mean, what? Sorry, I had to show it, but trust me, I've had some takes as well.
No, that's okay. I think,
but the Parsons thing isn't your fault.
I was just gonna say no. I didn't mean Micah was having a good. He was having a good year until he got hurt.
Exactly, but
he wouldn't have won Defensive Player of the Year only because Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and look at how quickly that season turns. I mean, look at us talking about Week 1 about how we're looking at the Packers and thinking I told you I thought they were going to be the team to beat, and then slowly but surely things didn't come together. And I think the big game for me that opened my eyes to Green Bay wasn't the team, was the game against Dallas. When I saw that, I was like, I know that they're not going to be a Super Bowl contender this year. It was just, what I saw in that game. Management, everything.
So I'm not going to make any more predictions before any season starts.
No, don't do that.
Now,
those are the most
just
fun.
Because of
those
that.
are the most fun is when we do those. For crying out loud, David, I said Arch Manning would be an NFL a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
You can make a call all you want.
Thanks.
I'm not going to.
Right. That's fair.
Except for one prediction now. Actually, I'm not ready to say it. Never mind.
What a tease.
College basketball. Michigan losing to unranked Wisconsin 91-88 on Saturday. Michigan had a timeout. They had 10 seconds left to go the length of the floor, but they had a timeout. Decided not to use it. And that was probably the worst last play I have seen this year. So Michigan is definitely, before that, yeah, they absolutely deserve to be number one. I don't know why they weren't already. Obviously not now. Few other upsets in college basketball, too. Unranked Texas beating number 13 Alabama by 4. Unranked Auburn beating number 15 Arkansas by 22. And then number 21 and number 22 both also lose. Michigan State, a nice game against Northwestern. That was close.
Yeah, Carson Cooper had a good game. 18 points, 9 boards. That's a great game. So good on friend of the show, Carson Cooper.
Yeah.
Good showing.
We're going to have him back on after the tournament.
Yes, we will. I'd like that.
And then college hockey, we haven't talked about this at all yet this year, but I wanted to throw it in here.
I'll say it's part of the reasons because college hockey is so darn tough to watch, not because of the game, but just because it's like it's not broadcast like these other sports. I mean, that's my same thing.
It's only on like Big Ten Network.
Yeah. I mean,
that's when they're not showing basketball.
I love college hockey and I love college baseball. It's just tough to find it, to be able to follow every single game.
Because ESPN only does postseason.
Right.
So,
right.
College hockey, Wolverines ranked number 1, Michigan State number 3, and Western Michigan number 7.
Dude, I mean, when you look at this program that Western Michigan has put together, winning it all last year and having a good start to the year this year, I mean, they're looking great. MSU, you hope they improve better. They lost in the opening round last year against Cornell in the regional semifinals.
Which Cornell's top 20.
Cornell's a great team, so there's no nothing on them. But yeah, I would love for Michigan. I you know what? Put the three of us in there. I would love to see in the tournament. I would love to see Western, Michigan State, and Michigan all making the Frozen Four. That would be so sick. But watch out for Boston College. They're always good.
Well, Wisconsin is number 2.
Wisconsin's a great team, and the game, in my eyes, the game to watch, maybe of all the sports this week, honestly, would be MSU at Wisconsin on Thursday, number 4 against number 2 on Big Ten Network at 9. That might be the game of the week in all sports.
Yep. Number 2 versus number 3, Wisconsin. And
yeah, that's right. You said
MSU.
MSU's 3 now.
Yeah, 9 p.m. Big Ten Network, which
I love that.
We're live from Grass Lake at 7, so right when we're done.
Yeah.
So you can watch us still.
Yeah.
For a great girls basketball game, Grass Lake number 9 in the state.
Yep.
And a great center team. And then right after that, Michigan State, Wisconsin at 9.
That's the way to do it.
All right, when we come back, Pistons 28-10 steamrolled the Knicks last week, and they still lead the Eastern Conference by 3.5 games. And the Red Wings playing really well too. So we'll be back on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle agency, myinsuranccircle.com. Pistons 28-10 still lead the Eastern Conference by 3.5 games. I watched the game with the Pistons and the Knicks on Peacock last week. Thought that was going to be a really good game. Playoff rematch, too, by the way. No, the Pistons beat them by like 30. It was a great one.
Not even close, yeah.
So they still lead the Knicks, who are in second place, by 3.5 games in the Eastern Conference, 28-10. Only Thursday, Saturday this week, both at home against the Suns and the awful Indiana Pacers.
Pacers should be easy. I think Suns will be a test, and I think some of it with the Suns game is who we get back. We just lost to the Clippers, but I'll tell you this. You go into that Clippers game, you look at the talent on that team.
Even though they're a retirement home, it's still James Harden and Kawhi
Exactly.
Leonard.
And you go into that game without Cade, without Duren, without Stewart, without Harris. Pretty much your starters you go in without. And you only lose by 4.
And just a few weeks ago, over the holiday break when we were gone, the Pistons lost to the Clippers at LA, and Kawhi scored 55.
Yeah. I mean, that's really kind of the only hope that the Clippers have this year is that Kawhi averages 40, 45 points a game. That's kind of their hope to do anything.
Which he has the ability to. Kawhi is still very good, even though he's talked great about anymore as far as the best player in the NBA.
If he could stay healthy, he would be.
He's still a bad man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I just want to get that across about it isn't just that we're doing this with our team, saying they're super healthy and just riding out this starting lineup.
They've still been winning games.
They're winning games against good teams with their bench playing. I mean, Robinson in that game had like 20, 22 points. So it's like they're running with their bench and their bench is balling out. So think about that as a team as a whole. The disrespect for the Pistons is crazy. A lot of people think they're pretenders. I think that they have a really good shot at making the finals this year with how I've seen this team.
Why do we keep having, which, OKC is good, but let's be fair, all, 7 or 8 total national games that are on TV each week, the Thunder are on like 5 of them.
Yeah, but
and the Pistons aren't still, even though they're leading the Eastern Conference, Pistons are still the best team in the NBA. Totally not biased. They're not being talked about, although, which... take it with a grain of salt when I say this, but Stephen A. on First Take last week, championship contender who's number 1 on Stephen's A list. The Pistons were number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the whole thing with the Thunders, you're the defending champs, you're going to get mentioned, and that team is so young and so good that you're just expecting them to make a run again. So of course they're going to get the mentions, but I still think that there is a slight little disrespect for the Pistons because this did come out of nowhere. We had that run last year, not anything like this. So I feel like the media is trying to figure out, is this team for real? Like, is this team really the team?
They are.
Yeah, but I just think that right now they're questioning it. You get towards the All-Star break and you get a little bit past that once these playoff brackets and stuff starting to form. Pistons are going to be up in that up in that top echelon of teams, especially in this conference. But I think some of it is just, can we keep this up? Right now, this should be the time that we're losing with how injuries and the health is going on right now. But if we come back from this and we're still getting wins, and then our starters come out and Cade is balling out, Duran's playing great, we have no chance to lose when that happens.
Now we can show that clip again come May.
Eastern Conference champion, Detroit Pistons.
I like that.
Calling it.
That was my prediction I was going to say earlier.
Really? Well,
no.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Red Wings are still playing really well. Got a big win over Montreal.
Man, yeah. Especially with how the standings are. It's funny, like when you talk about standings right now, it doesn't matter because there's still so much hockey left to be played. But this is the best Red Wings team I have seen since, I would say, 2010, 2011, something in that range. We still had pieces from that 08 team, but guys are starting to age out. Lidstrom retiring, Zetterberg getting older, Datsuk getting to the end of his career. But this team is completely different than those teams. You got the youth. You do have guys like, Kane and stuff like that on this team, but the Red Wings are just playing so well right now. 5-3 against Ottawa, 5-1 against Vancouver, and 4-0 against Montreal. That they've been great. First in the division, second in the conference, only down by 1 point. So again, just like the Pistons, this is like the big surprise of the year, I think, for hockey, is seeing how well the Pistons have done. And I think the Yzer plan is finally starting to come together. This is what we expected last year and the year before. Yeah, I think this is what we expected the past couple of years. Look for them to make some sort of move. I've talked about this at the deadline. I would love to get an additional goaltender, but we'll see if they make any moves. But this team is, I told a lot of people this, I think this team is special.
So when we come back, it's never too early to talk about baseball.
Baseball time.
Baseball on January 12th.
I love it. That's what I want to hear.
The high school preseason baseball rankings for Michigan. We'll get to that when we come back. Welcome back here on JTV. So, never too early to talk about baseball. In high school baseball, the Michigan High School Baseball Coaches Association came out with the 2026 preseason rankings. And we've got 4 teams in our area who are in these preseason rankings. All 4 in Division III. Lumen Christi, number 4 in the state in Division III. Of course, Lumen Christi making the quarterfinal last year at Adrian College. Columbia Central, number 7. And then last year, they lost to Grass Lake, who I'm going to mention next. Lost to Grass Lake in the regional final, the district final at Clinton, before Grass Lake losing in the regional semi. And then speaking of Grass Lake, so Columbia number 7, Lumen number 4, Grass Lake number 13 in Division III out of the top 20, and Leslie number 16. So 3 of those 4 teams there making at least the regional semifinal. So going to be a good high school baseball season. And of course, we don't have any preseason softball rankings, but I would imagine Grass Lake coming back ranked number 1, obviously coming off the state championship. So lost a few weapons on that team, but I still think Grass Lake the favorite in softball. So
great players, great coach. That's a dang good combination to have.
Yep. Good program.
Oh, yeah. Good program.
Yep. NBC has announced Sunday night baseball.
Heck yeah.
So the Sunday night baseball games will begin on opening day, March 26th, special opening day doubleheader, 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. Paul Skeens and the Pirates taking on the Mets in the early game on that day, and then Ohtani and the Dodgers coming off back-to-back, taking on the Diamondbacks and the nightcap. So
no Tiger games in this.
No, as of right now. But as the season goes on,
they
standings change, they'll flex them.
Yeah,
so
I hope so.
We will get Dodgers and Yankees on Sunday night baseball.
Always a fun game.
And then Dodgers Red Sox and Yankees Red Sox at the end of June.
They knew they had to put a Yankees Red Sox game in there.
But also, for the 4th of July, the day after America celebrates its 250th Independence Day, NBC will have, on national NBC televised, they'll have a doubleheader on July 5th, but all the other games will be presented on Peacock. So NBC is going to have all 30 MLB teams on July 4th and 5th that weekend. That's going to be awesome. So also with NBC, just because they're not on Sunday Night Baseball, they actually will also have a leadoff game on Sundays. So every Sunday, it'll be on Peacock streaming. They will have a Sunday afternoon leadoff game.
I like it. More baseball. No complaints here.
And like we mentioned earlier, NBC does a terrific job.
Yep.
So, excited for that. And for their announcers, we don't know who they're going to have. I would imagine Mike Tirico is going to do some baseball.
Great. Yeah.
I think he's done hockey before. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me to that. But
basketball.
Obviously,
he was
basketball.
There for Kobe's last game, yeah.
Yep. And he was still with ESPN at the time when he did Kobe's last game.
He was. Yep.
So, but reports last week coming out that which we didn't have this written down, but I did want to mention this. Jason Benetti has become the front runner to become NBC's lead play-by-play voice for Sunday Night Baseball.
As long as we don't lose him, totally good with it.
Which he is employed by the team.
Yes.
Not by FanDuel, which ties me into our next thing. There was an announcement last week. All 9 MLB teams who have contracts with Main Street Sports Group, the parent company who owns FanDuel Sports Network, rip up the contract, done. the Tigers will not be on FanDuel this coming season.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're gonna try to do. I assume MLB TV type thing, but that limits when you talk about people who just have basic cable. They don't have access to MLB.TV. So I'm curious what they're gonna try to find a solution, because there's a lot of people that every single day during the season they're watching the Tigers and they might not have access to them anymore. So I'm not sure what they do.
I think the article I'm reading from The Athletic, which was like the first one to come out with this, couple options here. Fubo.
Again, need an internet connection.
ESPN Plus. God, please.
Again.
Please don't.
But you see what I'm saying? Like,
but no, that's
all these
my
things
point,
require internet connection, and a lot of people, like, I'm thinking about, like, people that
But you still had to pay for FanDuel, though, even if you got it on cable.
Right, but, like, I'm thinking of, like, people I used to work with that, were a little bit older but just want to go home, turn on, they have Comcast or AT&T, whatever, and they just want to turn on and go to the channel to watch the Tigers. If it's not going to be a set channel like that and you have to have some sort of alternate streaming service, nobody's going to change. Let me get rid of cable. Let me get YouTube TV, or let me get MLB.TV or Fubo or anything like that, and get that just to watch the Tigers, and then I assume eventually maybe the Red Wings and the Pistons. I just don't see it happening right now. I think a lot of people are going to be missing out on the Tigers.
I'm surprised the Pistons and the Wings haven't also pulled out of their contracts. The reason why these teams, baseball teams, did it is because FanDuel's going bankrupt, and they said flat out they're getting out of the deal before they officially file, and the whole situation gets messy. So good move by them.
Yeah.
Pull out of the deal. Now, the people are saying, well, what's going to happen to Benetti and Dirks and Dan Dickerson? They're all employed by the team. They are not employed by FanDuel. So no matter where they go, you'll still get Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks, and you'll still get Dan Dickerson on the radio.
And if I remember correctly, I think previously Ernie Harwell was employed by the radio station. Then the radio station decided to get rid of him. Crazy backlash from fans that got him back on, and then I think from that point he was employed by the team,
right?
So they couldn't do that same thing again, and then that has then carried to Dan Dickerson and the announcing crews that we have now, which we do have. If you talk about radio and TV, I know I'm biased, but we have the best radio and TV crew in all of sports right now, in my eyes. When you look at these guys, when Andy Dirks is fantastic.
All
Benetti
of
is
the
amazing.
Detroit sports.
Yeah.
Because
we're
Pistons, obviously, Blaha and Special K. You can't beat that. Baseball, Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks.
The college
Dan
sports.
Dickerson. And Dan Dickerson's been doing more TV games, too, which is great.
He's just one of those, it stinks that it's like I can't get Mario and, I almost said Luigi. I came so close. Mario and Rod, like, that's my childhood. But number two would be Dan Dickerson, just because I heard his voice all the time. Any of those late games, I'd stayed up and just listened to the radio before I went to bed. Like, that's what I remember. So anytime we can get him on TV, as much as I love Jason Benetti, anytime we can get him on TV is great.
And besides them, you've got Dan Petrie, who I like too.
Yeah. So I mean, we're very lucky.
So that's basketball and baseball. Football, Dan Miller on the radio with Lomas and TJ Lang. And then the Red Wings, of course, Ken and Mickey. And Ken Kale, too.
And that might be, and I think that might be ultimately those guys. I thought about this the other day watching the Red Wings game. It's just they're so good, and they just flow so well together. And it's just like
I like the two old dudes just chopping it up.
That will be a sad moment for me, because that, like, the first sport I really got into when I was younger was hockey. So it's like I've been listening to those guys since like 02, 01, probably 01. I've been listening to them. So it's just like that's something that's like, once it happens, it's going to be really sad. So just like try not to think about it. But it's like they are legends, absolute legends. They truly, in my eyes, they deserve to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame in the broadcaster wing. No doubt in my mind.
Well,
everyone.
Baseball, too, for Dan Dickerson.
Yep. Oh, 100%. I really hope he gets his flowers when it's all said and done. And in my eyes, it's a no-brainer. Jason Benetti, if we get another 40 years out of him, he'll be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he'll get the Fick Award easily.
I think back to the TV thing with the FanDuel. Fubo, that'd be terrible. Same thing with the ESPN Plus. Now, they show games, random games in the afternoon and at night every day on MLB Network. And if the Tigers are just going to be taken over by the league, which is MLB.TV, I would think as some sort of consolation, those teams that are pulling out of their FanDuel contract will be on most of those MLB Network games. And I know that's still a higher up package like on cable, but still, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a place to go to watch every single day.
Which MLB.TV, if you pay for, you can still watch MLB Network. So
right now on MLB.TV, because we have these contracts with FanDuel and stuff like that, you get blocked out when you try to watch Detroit game unless you, wink, wink, unless you're traveling to a different state or you use a VPN with a different state then it won't let you be blacked out for those games. But if that's the only way, it's not going to work.
East.
That's right.
Correct streams.
Real quick, because I know we got to go. Last few baseball news. Max Kepler failed drug test. He's going to be suspended for 80 days. Bregman, new contract. You mentioned this earlier, signed with the Cubs for $125 million. Yankees, Bellinger, their talks have kind of stalled. The Yankees offered him 5 years, $30 million, turned that down. So as we kind of predicted, he's probably going to go somewhere else. Please not the Dodgers. And then the last thing,
they're gonna what do you call it? With like Ohtani's contract.
Oh, defer.
Defer. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, they might. And then last thing, one thing you can't defer, Skubal arbitration. We offered him 19 mil. He wants 32 mil. It is
cheap.
going to.
We're cheap.
It is going to go to the courts. The very last thing is the reason this is happening, and the reason you mentioned before the show about we would have done it for Verlander. That's the difference in having Mike Ilitch and having the crew right now is that Mike Ilitch was win now mode, so he was going to go after that. With Chris Ilitch, I just don't see that. He doesn't have that sense of urgency. Skubal's going to walk at the end of this. I have no doubt about that. We're going to deal with this arbitration case, and we'll see what happens during this season. If it's looking like we're a good team, we're going to make a run. We're not going to get rid of him. If it's kind of a slow start, probably going to get rid of him. So, regardless, I don't see us resigning. But
well, and I've been saying that, and you told me to not talk about it.
Don't talk. I don't want to talk about it. I just that's just me being realistic. And I've said that if you go back to any of the older podcasts, that's what I've been saying this entire time, is that we're probably not going to re-sign him, but just don't talk to me about it.
I know they were in win now mode when they did that with Verlander. I get that, but do you have the three best pitchers in baseball when he's pitching and he's fully healthy? Shohei Ohtani, Paul Skeens, because he was the Cy Young for the National League.
Oh, yeah.
And then Skubal.
Yeah.
Skubal won, order however you want to, whatever. But those are the three best guys in baseball. The Pirates want to do something around Paul Skeens. It's not going to happen because Pittsburgh is blows. They're terrible. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. And then you have the Tigers. What do the Tigers want to... I'm hoping this is best case scenario. I don't think it's going to happen. But I think Ilitch is just milking this out because he doesn't want to hand over the money right away, like right now.
I don't see it. I just see
But I said that's best case scenario, which is not going to happen. But what really pisses me off about that is the fact that because we're not going to re-sign Skubal after this year, he's going to walk. I think that's pretty much done now, is the fact that the Mets, the Yankees, and the Dodgers is where he's going to end up. That's the most frustrating part about it.
Yep. But that's always how it is. That's baseball, though.
Oh, I know.
You gotta get
and I know
prepared.
they don't have a salary cap. Yeah. But watch the Yankees pick up. We're just talking about Bregman.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the Dodgers pick him up and defer.
Or you mean not Bregman, Bellinger?
Sorry,
I agree.
Bellinger.
Yeah, he go back home to L.A.
And then watch him do that with Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
I hate it, but I'm just saying that rotation: Ohtani, Sasaki, Yamamoto, Skubal, Glasnow, Snell, Probably forgetting
Thank
a few
goodness
more
Kershaw
people.
retired, or we'd be extra screwed.
Yeah, but you get my point,
Yeah.
though, is that Chris Ilitch is a cheap ass, and that's the summary of our show today.
Damn.
And we've been knowing that, though.
Damn.
Am I wrong?
No, he might watch,
Good.
Real quick.
Fine.
Chris, if you watch, can you give me tickets to the Tigers? Like all year. Season tickets. Thank you. I won't talk bad about you if you do that.
Oh, and Little Caesars is awful, and they're terrible. So,
Like the arena or the pizza?
the pizza.
Oh, come on
the
now.
pizza.
Come on now. It's Detroit staple.
No.
That's Detroit staple.
No. Horrible.
Yes. No, Detroit staple.
Horrible.
You know what, Little Caesars?
Buddies
I'm with you,
is
man.
better.
I'm with you, Little Caesars. I'll get you. I'll go buy pizza right after this.
Buddies is better.
I do like Buddies. Buddies is good.
Yeah. Conies are the best food, by the way, though.
That's
So.
random.
From Detroit, if you're talking Detroit food, the Coney.
I'm partial to Detroit deep dish, but I do love me some Conies.
Although, we have to get a food talk. And I know, I'm sorry.
We're over time. What are you doing?
I know, I'm just... Okay, fine.
Well, no.
I'm just saying,
you can't
though.
do that. You can't do that.
I don't like Detroit-style Coney. It's not a real Coney because it's chili. It's not the regular ground beef like we have here in Jackson and Flint.
The thing that I'll say about it is the.
I'm not saying it's not good.
No,
I'm just saying
maybe
it's
all
not a
the
real
same thing.
Coney. It's a
Well,
chili dog.
Is Detroit style deep dish real pizza?
Well, yeah. Why?
That is my opinion of Conies. They are all Conies. It's just a different version of the Coney. So to me, those are all Conies.
I'm just
those are all
biased
pieces.
because Jackson
you
is
are.
the original place for the
coming
Coney.
coming from somebody from the Detroit area that used to go to American and Lafayette. That those places are awesome.
Which one is better, do you think? I know it's hard.
See, everybody says Lafayette. I like American better. It's cleaner. I don't know. It's nicer. More options at American.
Yes,
I feel less,
I was going to say, I've only been to each one of them, I think,
yeah,
once or twice
but
in my
if
life,
it's-
but
if
one of them
it's-
had the rat problem.
Yeah, and that's Lafayette. But if you are drunk and you're downtown Detroit and you're at the casino,
Happens a lot. There's a lot of home games down
if
there.
you were at the casino or at the game and you guys want some food and it's like 11 p.m.
American.
Lafayette has to be the place. But if you're with your family and you guys are hanging out and it's just a nice like weekend getaway to downtown,
Then it's American.
Then it's American. That's how I look at it.
Okay, I see.
If you're drunk with your friends,
now.
Lafayette's the place. But if
Then
you're
you don't care.
with your family, then if you're with your family, American is the place. But
We need to do a JTV Pistons game this year.
we got to do one of those, and we got to do
Or a Red Wings game.
well, we got to do something downtown. We got to go to American and Lafayette. We got to get each of them. We have to because everybody else has done that. We have to do that for this show to figure out what is the
Okay.
better.
If Andy or HR, if somebody's watching, which they do, thank you. David Rice show segment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it has nothing to do with sports. But if we do a JTV Tigers, Pistons, whatever game this year and all of us go, we take a camera,
Uh-huh.
we go early, way early before, and we do American and Lafayette.
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's make this happen.
Let's make it happen.
All right.
You tell the powers that be, and I'll sit there and watch.
All right, now we can wrap up.
All right, thank you,
Subscribe to JTV Sports, live basketball, Springport Concord Tuesday with Matt and Max, and then me and Max back at Grass Lake. I haven't been there since the last time we did a game there, so looking forward to that. JTV.tv for all the photos. Thanks for watching, and thanks to The Circle. We'll see you next week.